From the campus of the University of Kentucky, you're listening to Behind the Blue. I'm Cody Kaiser with UK Strategic Communications.
It's a unique relationship you have with somebody that's still forming their career, right? They're forming their path. And so being a part of that and helping them figure out their place, their passions, and really fostering that, both, inside a classroom and outside the classroom is a really key part. Most people that are professors seem really distant to students and often perfectionists. And so it's really fun to connect with them and talk about flaws or mistakes in my past, or even ones that I make now, and make them aware that it's a comfortable spot, show them that it's okay to do that, and kind of watch them grow through that process. And it's really rewarding and incredibly just kind to be a part of it with them.
That's Gosia Kvatko, an assistant professor in the Stanley and Karen Pigman College of Engineering, Department of Chemical and Materials Engineering, and one of 6 recipients of the 2025 Great Teacher Awards. The University of Kentucky Alumni Association started the Great Teacher Award program in 1961 to honor excellent teaching at the university. There have been more than 300 teachers honored since that first year. Nominations may only be submitted by current students. To receive the award, a candidate must hold the rank of full-time lecturer or above and have been a member of the faculty for the past 3 years at UK, have superior knowledge of the subject matter, have original and innovative classroom presentations, demonstrate concern for students both inside and outside the classroom setting, and not have been a recipient of the award for the past 10 years. Kvatko's research lab focuses on understanding and developing sustainable separation processes and polymeric materials considering cradle-to-grave design. On this episode of Behind the Blue, my colleague Steve Schaefer spotlights this Great Teacher Award winner.
Dr. Gosia Kvatko, thanks for being with us.
Of course, great to be here.
So this award is entirely student-driven. They push it forward, they do the nomination process. It's quite the lengthy process, actually, from what I understand. What does it mean to win an award like this that is so student-driven?
It's definitely incredibly meaningful and special. And as you're pointing out, right, a lot of the other awards can be driven by faculty members. So those are your peers nominating you, usually after, maybe a single class visit. In this case, these are students that you have numerous meetings with that see you either inside the classroom, or in some of my students' cases, it's in our research space, right? So it really means a lot that those are individuals that know me really well, I know them really well, and that connection blossomed and is rewarded, right, by those students nominating me and seeing all the work that I put into them, and they also put into coaching me to be a better mentor.
What do you bring to class to sort of motivate and inspire students?
It's also a great question. I would say first thing usually is a personality. So my students often enjoy making some jokes in class or bringing that material more to life rather than just purely lecturing at them for 50 minutes straight. It's really hard for them to keep attention. And as I joke, it's hard for me to keep attention for 50 minutes just talking to you. And so I think one of the things that I try to do is bring in examples and introduce some sort of polling or responding from the students to actually make it more of an interactive experience. And then, I usually, like I said, try to bring a more bubbly personality into the classroom so that I try to lift their spirits so that they're not too bored sitting there.
Yeah, I'm a jokester. So, in my classes, my jokes, of the dad variety, and they land flat most of the time. So.
Honestly, that's even better, though. This way you laugh at yourself, and then they enjoy seeing that and laugh at you. So, which I never mind.
Works, I think. I don't know. How do you think this award will carry forward in your teaching?
I think it's a recognition that the effort I'm putting in is worth it, that it's being seen by the students. I think often it's hard to see that result because they're coming into your classroom, moving on, and we see them graduate, move on, do great things in your life. But seeing the fact that even my contribution for that semester, 3 months, or if it's a longer relationship with a graduate student, is meaningfully recognized means that the effort I'm putting into the way that I'm running my classrooms or the way I'm teaching in the research space does pay off, and it helps students. And so it's definitely a motivator to keep doing what I'm doing and keep innovating on it.
Do you have a teaching philosophy?
I do. So one of my teaching philosophies is that really education is a place to practice. So what that means is I often try to diminish the weight of homework assignments, because at that time, students shouldn't be masters of the material. They should be working on it, meaning they should be rewarded for getting things wrong, because at that point it's practice, right? And same thing for exams. I often have methods where the students will come in for an exam or a quiz. They'll take it like in any other classroom they might have seen before. But we usually go through a secondary step of them going through their work, grading themselves, and submitting corrections, which allows them to more deeply connect with the material and then, again, practice with it more and more and become an expert over time. So.
Yeah, I run into that. With teaching photo and video, some of them, they want to be good at it immediately. And it's, like you're supposed to not be good at it now.
Yeah, but students are not comfortable with that these days. They want to immediately be the experts or immediately attempt an assignment and get it 100% correct. And so building that discomfort with not being perfect all the time, not knowing everything, is part of what they hopefully learn through the course.
And I feel like maybe engineering students, there's a little extra there for that, because they were probably the real smart students in high school and maybe didn't get things wrong a lot. And then it's up a couple of levels when they get here. So everything is, they're not going to be perfect at everything.
Yeah, I think that's true. We hear that often from our students. So that was my own experience also going through school. When in high school, I was working hard. There's some courses that I had to study a lot in, others less so. But when I finally came into college and took that first engineering class, it kicked my butt. It was a whole new level of effort. I had to put in a whole new level of approaching the material. And I think a lot of our students are faced with that challenge of something might have worked previously, but now you have to adapt and work with the faculty members to really work out your style and what's going to work for you.
Yeah, my daughter is is just starting nursing school, and she's sort of that way, has kind of not breezed, but had a fairly easy time of it in high school. She had a few little bumps in the road, but she came home this weekend and she's like, "Do you know how complicated the human heart is?" And she's got all these notes and stuff, on her iPad, diagrams and things, and I'm like, yeah, this is what it is. Like, it's harder here. Like, and it's supposed to be harder here.
Exactly. It's a new level of mastery of the material.
What motivates you to keep teaching? I'm sure there's a place out there in the chemical world for you, in the corporate world. But what brings you back over here to campus to keep teaching?
I mean, it's the students, right? It's a unique relationship you have with somebody that's still forming their career, right? They're forming their path. And so being a part of that and helping them figure out their place, their passions, and really fostering that, both, inside a classroom and outside the classroom, is a really key part. Most people that are professors seem really distant to students and often perfectionists. And so it's really fun to connect with them and talk about flaws or mistakes in my past, or even ones that I make now, and make them aware that it's a comfortable spot, show them that it's okay to do that, and kind of watch them grow through that process. And it's really rewarding and incredibly just kind to be a part of it with them.
Yeah, I feel like that's important, is that they know I'm not perfect. That I make mistakes and I blow it all the time in everything, assignments, or, videos, photos, whatever. Like I mess it up all the time, but that's just part of it. And you have to expect that and overcome it, figure out what you did wrong and move on. And it can't let it throw you.
Exactly. And it's like that in one classroom, right? In one semester, I could make a mistake and recover from it. Or it's next time I'm trying to teach that course, I'm going to change it completely because something didn't work. And so it's sometimes hard for students to see that, but it's great, to talk about it and connect with them. And that connection is really what makes me keep coming back.
Yeah, I started this semester with a class. A class I'm teaching this semester, I've never taught before. And so I'm still trying to figure it out. And I said, okay, full disclosure, I've never taught this class. So I'm going to be changing things as we go. So don't work ahead. Don't, just stay with me and we'll get to the end of it. We'll have some fun and we'll make some pictures and some videos, but, we're going to figure it out as we go.
Yeah, exactly. And that's a key part. That's what I'm doing in my course now that I'm teaching for the first time. It's getting feedback throughout. And then if students request something different, being flexible enough to change it, right? I don't have to be stubborn in how I'm approaching the material if it doesn't work for them.
Yeah, I changed the deadline on something in class just yesterday. And it was like I hadn't thought it through all the way. And then I thought it all the way through yesterday. And I'm like, oh, yeah, we should totally do it that way. And so... and I had to back up and fix a few things that I had sort of graded prior. And, it's like none of us are perfect and none of us are going to get it 100% right. And I feel like it's important for them to see us and even other professionals out in the world messing up and fixing it and moving on.
And being accountable of it too, right? Actually saying the word like, yes, I didn't think this through. Yes, that was a mistake or whatever it is, right? Acknowledging it is a big part of what they also need to do as professionals to grow into that space of we all will make mistakes. And the first part of getting through it is to admit it and then keep going.
Yeah, own it.
Just hard to do at first, but we get better over time.
What are you trying to teach them other than chemistry and engineering and those kind of core principles over there? What are the sort of intangibles that you're trying to teach them?
I mean, it's a lot, right? Some of it comes down to even time management. That's a simple one. Like if there's an assignment due date, being respectful if I can make it, or admitting, hey, I can't we reschedule it, right? So having that accountability is a big part of it because if you, again, keep dropping the ball, right, that reflects poorly on you and it's a skill just to learn throughout. Likewise, again, accountability, right? So if mistakes happen, you get a poor grade, right? That doesn't mean you pull away from the course or from the instructor. Reach out, right? Talk about it. I think that's hard for students. And so often I'll find that I might be the first person that sends that message of, hey, how's it going? Maybe let's meet, let's have this conversation. And that teaches them, again, it's okay to acknowledge when things aren't going well. It's, again, a sign of growth, right? As a person. And so that's all the things I'm hoping to teach them throughout is, be a person, show up, keep going so that you don't just quit right immediately when things get tough. But, there's a conversation and people are here to help you. So hopefully they learn it.
Yeah. In a conversation with one of your colleagues, Doug Klein, he made the point. He's like, look, if you get a B, they still call you an engineer at the end. He's like, you still, and I took that home and I said something to my daughter to that effect. I'm like, look, you might get a B in anatomy class, but when you get to the end of it, you're still going to be a nurse, you're still going to have RN at the end of it. So, I just think that's, important to also, it's okay if you don't get all A's.
Yeah. Education takes a long time, right? And so I've sometimes make this analogy too, like the first time I've taken thermodynamics, that's one of the key classes in engineering. I did not have a grand time. I did not, get flying A, passing great colors all the time. It took time, right? I had to go back and I've made the joke that, when I was taking that class, I passed it, it was okay, but I fully understood it only a year later when I took something else and something clicked, right? And so part of what I love about education is that, yes, unfortunately with the system, we're taking it one semester at a time, but it doesn't stop at the end of that semester. You keep going. If you didn't understand something, you have time on your side to really understand it. And then, like I said, be that practicing engineer or, whatever your career path is and still be successful at it.
Yeah, I feel like it's not a straight line and they want it to be this sort of, constant, getting better and better and better. But it's more of a get better, take a step back, get better. It's not a straight line.
Exactly. And it's part of what makes it fun. If it was easy, it would be boring. And so some of those challenges are really the fun of it.
Everybody would want to be an engineer if it was easy, right?
Exactly. And, kind of working through those challenges and acknowledging when they're there is, again, part of what being an engineer is.
One of the things that I've sort of come to realize about engineering, and I've talked with this talked about this with some of your colleagues a little. I've come to realize engineering is a really creative field. You sort of think of it, it's a by the book, by the numbers, it's math, it's physics, but I've come to realize there's a lot of different ways to sort of solve problems, and sort of thinking creatively is as important as being good at the math. Talk about that a little bit.
Yeah, no, so I totally agree. I think a lot of students, including myself, when I first just chose engineering, it was because I was good at math. I like chemistry. I was like, great, combined the two. I liked my physics, chemical engineer, here we go. And so that is what I started. But as you go through the curriculum, as you go out and start practicing as an engineer, you start to notice, again, the problems are not a single solution problem, right? You have to really think through, well, actually, what am I trying to solve? Is there a problem even here? Or, is it actually okay? And so you start to really piece, the problem apart, take the information apart and decide what is important. What is important? And you keep going. And so we do this, it could be as simple as in the classroom, sometimes we might say, okay, this problem, you might get an answer at the end, but it doesn't matter, right? We made a wrong assumption way up front. And so here we go. It didn't matter. But same thing in the research space, right? Often when we're trying to problem solve something that is impacting the real world, or in my case, I'm passionate about the plastic crisis. It's one of the things that is impacting our society, impacting our health. And so we have to work to fix the issue we've created. Here, right, there's so many numerous approaches to solving that problem. And I can guarantee there's not going to be one solution at the end of it. There's going to be numerous solutions that come together and really make an impact. And so that's really where the creativity comes in. All of us will find our own approach at solving that problem and then work along, our peers to really combine it into one giant solution that has all of our individual components in it.
That's really interesting. Let's switch gears for a second and tell me about your students. What are they like?
Also a great question. I mean, they're always all passionate about what they're doing. They have a reason for being here. But their personalities are entirely variable, and that's what makes the job fun. I might explain something to one student one way, and they'll get it within 30 seconds. If I try the same thing a second time to somebody else, it will not land. It will be the most confusing statement ever. And so recognizing all students as individuals, right? They're more than just, a student in your class. There's one out of X, right? Many. They all need something different from you, and they all offer something different to you, right? And so having those conversations to develop what's their own, educational goal in that class, what's their own journey, in research or in different spaces makes impactful. Because then again, when it comes to problem solving, the fact that they have different personalities, different knowledge base, and come to your classroom and to your research space with a different background makes them so much more innovative. And so that's again where, having those conversations and figuring out what works for each of us as a team is really, really fun. And again, challenges me as a leader to, again, adapt my style. And so the job never gets boring.
Yeah, that's for sure. That's the constant, is it's never boring. And it's never the same.
No.
From semester to semester. Even in the same class, it's never the same.
Exactly. There's always something that changes and forces you to change. And again, it's what makes it fun, right? It brings challenges for us, but keeps it new and entertaining for the students and for ourselves.
What do they teach you?
Teach me a lot. Some of it could be like I had a student request, I think two days ago, that they really would like new video content for my lectures. It's something I didn't think about. So I was like, if I provide a written solution, that's the solution. That's the way I've talked you through the problem. But they've shown to me, for example, that, different media can be really important and really insightful into how they're learning. And so there's things like that, or sometimes they'll teach me a solution that works in their hometown for a challenge we might be trying to face in lab, right? And it could be as simple as, this type of tape you're using for this problem really is not it. Try this, right? It could be something very simple that, I'm learning from what they know.
So the last few years 4 or 5 years now, we've all been through some stuff. How have your students surprised you in these years, sort of since the pandemic? And, we've been officially out of the pandemic for a few years now, but I feel like we're still dealing with the after effects of it in a whole bunch of different ways. But how have your students sort of surprised you in the last several years? We'll say the last 4 or 5 years.
So I started teaching 4 years ago, so that's my beginning time point. But I would say there's challenges that happen all the time to students, right? It could be that there's weather disasters, right? That happens often, or it could be a personal challenge that they're facing. And so often I think what surprises me is the level of resilience and the level of openness that students have. What I was expecting, let's say, going into a teaching job is that students would hide their difficulties and pretend they're not there or not acknowledge that they're impacting their work. But I've been incredibly surprised by the fact that they're willing to come in, have an open conversation about what's going on that's preventing them from being successful. And then again, developing a plan that helps them move past it, right? That develops a plan so they still learn their material, that they're still contributing in a way that they can. So that's been really great to see and be a part of those kind of decision points, those conversations.
Yeah, it's been my experience that students are a little more ready to say when they're not okay, which is going to do nothing but help them. Like you, I will bend over backwards to help if someone comes to me and says, A, B, and C is going on. I need a little extra time or a little extra help. I'm there.
Exactly. Right. It's the least we can do to help them be successful. At the end of the day, our job is to make them be successful, make them have a career that they're going after. And so is that if it's, extending an assignment, if it's meeting an extra hour a week, I'm more than happy to do it if it makes them get to where they're trying to go.
Yeah, I had another teaching friend who teaches here who put it, my job is to set the bar high, but it's also to help them get over it. And I felt like that's a really good way to put that.
Yeah, yes, it is. I totally agree.
So what advice do you have for those students who, might struggle from time to time?
I think it's go talk to whoever can help you, right? I think it could be your faculty member if it's, a teaching classroom, right? They're there to help you. They're not there to judge you, to, make fun of you, anything. Like, we're truly in this job to help our students. And
we've probably been through it.
Yes, exactly. We've had our shares of hardships, failed exams. Like there's numerous things that have happened in our past that, having that conversation lets you learn about and learn from our mistakes. There's plenty. So
lots.
Yeah, exactly. And so it's my best piece of advice is just find someone you can talk to. And like I said, if a professor is not someone you're feeling you can have a conversation with, there's so many more resources and so many more individuals you can get help from, or even, bring a friend to have that conversation with. So there's options.
What does it mean to you to have those students who've been through your class, who've been through the program, out in the world doing cool things, doing big things? What does it mean to have those students that you've sort of helped them along that path out there?
It means a lot. They're really completing kind of the reason I'm here, right? So I'm just one individual, but everybody I'm helping and, teaching to get to their potential, to get to that career is really a little bit of my impact and a big part of them, right? And so seeing them successful, whether it ties back completely to UK or not is not important, but having them make an impact, whether it's through their job or other people that they're helping, is really impactful.
You are working and teaching in a field that is largely dominated by males. Mm-hmm. How important is it to you, and why is it important to foster young women to sort of go toward engineering and down the engineering path?
Yeah. So it's very important. It's definitely a part of why I'm here too. I think it brings back the point about creativity, right? If we are excluding anybody, right, we're excluding their creativity, their problem solving ability, and their ability to make an impact. And so for me, again, to be an example to students, right, of what you can reach, your impact, and what you can do is really meaningful because it makes them believe that they can do the same. It's the same way when I was a student. It was really impactful to me to have a female faculty member be a mentor because it showed me how she's dealing with challenging situations that sometimes a male faculty member might not be able to necessarily relate to. And so I think being there and being, open to have those conversations and generally have an open door policy for anybody to walk in is, again, really important to hopefully change that so that, over time it evens out.
Yeah, it's really important to, I think for younger people to see someone that looks like them, whatever that is, whatever they look like, to be in the positions that they aspire to, or just so they know it's possible.
Exactly. Yeah. And it's little things like English was my second language, right? So even just connecting on that with some students is really helpful because, it's easy to not see that, but being more open about talking about it, makes them seem like they can reach similar career paths or, even bigger than where I'm going.
Yeah, I talked to another one of your colleagues in electrical engineering, Janet Lump, a few years ago, and she was, talking about she was fiercely protective of all of her female students. And, she said, if I lose one, it's a big percentage out of, the females in the program. And so she was very, very protective of them. And it was such a great experience to hang out with her for a bit.
I could see that. Yeah, it definitely makes a difference. But I'm like that with anybody in my team. Like once you're committed, right, and we're in this relationship to get you to whatever the career is, my job is to help you. I will push you to whatever opportunity I see. And my students get a lot of emails from me that they may or may not appreciate with opportunities they see around campus. I'm like, there's another training workshop. Here's a way you can get a certificate. Something, that maybe doesn't take a lot of time, but it will show off on their resumes and makes them stand out from the crowd. So. Yeah,
and they may not appreciate that now, but they will later.
Exactly. It's, again, the reason I have this job is because people pushed me to get those things. It's things that help you stand out from the crowd and makes you more successful or brings you skills that you didn't have before.
Yeah, it's kind of and you kind of get that as a parent too, but it's really cool as a teacher to have those little, kind of almost like a little teaching time bomb. It's like, okay, tick, tick, tick. Oh, now I see why he had me do that.
Exactly.
Later,
Yes.
That was really annoying in class, but I need that out here. Mm-hmm. So, yeah.
Exactly. Yeah, I definitely have a lot of those from my past that, I cringed, didn't want to do something, and now I'm like really thankful that I did because it helps me be successful.
What would you like to say to the Alumni Association, who has kind of kept this award going through trying times, for a long time? What would you like to say to them for sort of keeping teaching front and center here on campus?
I mean, first off, definitely a thank you, right? They kept it going for a long time, and it is an incredibly meaningful award, right? It's definitely one that if you hear people that have gotten it or you see people that have gotten it, right, it's a nice recognition of their efforts, right? And it stands out. It stands out for students that see those faculty that are committed to teaching, and it's a way to show that off really quickly, right? It, again, supports the mission of the university to educate students that are coming to the university, right? And make sure that they have a great experience, make sure that they're learning material. And by showcasing individuals that are really committed to that passion, we're again supporting the mission very clearly and out and open. So it only strengthens the university.
You all in engineering's kind of racking up some great teacher awards.
I think so.
And you've got D.B. Bhattacharya,
mm-hmm. Yep,
who's won 3 of them.
Yes.
And so you all are racking them up.
Yeah, I mean, I think engineering sometimes gets a bad rep for bad teaching, just because it can be very, numbers heavy, math heavy. It could be, a single solution to this problem and you're done. And so really showcasing us helps break that stigma of engineering is more than just numbers. It's more than just, that homework assignment. It brings in that creativity and really the passion that all of us have to make the best engineers that we can and help them on that journey.
Oh, and by the way, it's kind of hard. Yeah. Engineering's kind of hard.
I mean, I would say everything is hard. I think it's just where your passion lies that makes it easier.
#hard.
Well, see, so as an example, I'm currently doing a master's in STEM education because I wanted to be a better professor. And so initially, when I started my undergraduate, I would have thought that was the hardest thing ever. Because the reason I went into engineering first is because numbers made sense. That was easier versus things that I'm doing now and how much I have kind of opened up my potential and what education is. And, you know, my connection to school has changed so much that, again, kind of, you know, I see the benefit of both sides.
So I want to go back to something that you said earlier. It's one of those time bombs. It just sunk in that you've only been teaching 4 years,
Yes.
period.
At this university. So before that, I didn't have more experience than TAing a few lectures. So just teaching a few times. So.
Wow. What did you do previously?
So I was always in school, basically.
Oh, okay.
So it was a lot of schooling. So after I did my doctorate, I did a postdoctoral fellowship, which is effectively a little bit more schooling, but without an official classroom experience. So it's just working in a research lab under a faculty member. And after that, I came directly here. So.
Wow. So 4 years in and you're a great teacher.
I definitely feel very lucky and to have an impact already so early recognized by my students. But yeah, very happy to be here.
What would you like to say to the students that nominated you?
Definitely a thank you. I'm glad that I feel I've impacted them positively. That's definitely a part of the award. You know, they're coming in and sharing their stories and their opinions and viewpoints of the things that I do. And the fact that, again, it resonates with them, that they see the effort I put in, it's really meaningful. So.
Gosha Kvatko, thanks for being here.
Thank you. It's been a great conversation.
Indeed.
Thanks for listening to Behind the Blue. Behind the Blue is a joint production of the University of Kentucky and UK Healthcare. For more stories about UK and UK healthcare, visit uknow.uky.edu.